I'm Mike.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Katarina.
I'm Lana.
And I'm Rich.
In March of 2018, a radio program hit the airwaves that brought a new vision to the classic format of audio theater entertainment. It was new old-time radio, and it was called Nutmeg Junction.
With 100% original scripts and performed by exceptional voice actors, the anthology series introduced a wide variety of characters from Professor A, The Grey Whisper, Space Sentries, and so many more.
Nutmeg Junction currently airs on 13 stations in 4 states and online, including a station in Canada.
In this very special episode of Nerd Talk, we present members of Nutmeg Junction performing some new and some classic works.
And we'll talk with the group of how they got involved and discover interesting stories behind the scenes of this exceptional radio program.
So join us, won't you, as Nerd Talk proudly presents Nutmeg Junction.
Welcome to Nutmeg Junction. I'm Jason Coulis. Our first station on the trolley ride of imagination is a dentist's office somewhere in a major metropolitan city. We take you now to Dracula's dentist.
Good evening. My name is Dracula, Count Dracula the Third. But who's counting nowadays? May I come in?
We close in 10 minutes.
Ah, yes, but my personal situation does not permit me to schedule anything earlier. May I come in?
Do you have an appointment?
Do patients with appointments usually hover outside your window?
We get a lot of weirdos now that the dental practice is downtown. No offense.
Yes. So may I come in? My tooth is aching, and using my teeth is kind of my thing.
I have to check Dr. Glauc's schedule.
Is Dr. Glauc's schedule on Instagram? Because it looks like you're just scrolling.
If Dr. Glauc is free, he can see you.
So, you're inviting me in. I just want to be clear. The rules are very strict about this sort of thing.
Hey!
Okay. Don't bite my head off. That would be a little bit of role reversal. Do you want to throw me a magazine while I'm waiting out here?
Go get a magazine yourself.
So, you're inviting me in to get a magazine. Aha! That worked. I'm in. Now, it didn't have to be that hard. It was like pulling teeth.
But pulling teeth is what we do best around here. Welcome to Last Chance Dental. I'm Dr. Gluck. My, what a firm grip you have, sir.
Item over here.
You're shaking my hand again, Doctor.
Of course I was. Of course I was, Miss Gall. I don't want to leave you out of the equation. I'm one dentist who believes in manners. So where's our patient again?
I'm right next to you, Doctor.
Of course you are. Of course you are. You know what they say, keep your friends closer, but keep your patients closer.
Don't you mean keep your enemies closer?
You'd be amazed at how fast things turn around here. So why don't you come into my office? Have a seat.
That looks like a bathroom.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Just making sure no one's in there. Don't want anyone to hide in there overnight.
You don't want squatters?
What they do in there is none of my business, really.
Here's your office, Dr. Glauc. Just follow the sound of my voice. That's right. Almost there. There you are.
Exactly where I expected to be. Right here with the paper-thin door.
That's my dental assistant mask?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Why don't you go in and help Mr.
Dracula.
Mr. Kula with the paperwork. Do you mind if we call you Drac?
I'd prefer not, to be honest.
Honesty is the second best policy, besides a dental policy, of course. Ms. Gall, will you help? And I'll be in just a minute.
Is Dr. Glauc always this way?
It depends on what he has for lunch.
Well, I often have a liquid dinner. If you know what I mean.
At $14.50 an hour, I don't have to. So can I have your insurance card?
Here you go.
Transylvania, sure. We don't accept them.
But I pay my premiums every month.
They're real bloodsuckers, aren't they?
Tell me about it. Insurance executives give vampires a bad name.
Sign here and here. I know. Sometimes it feels like you're signing your life away, doesn't it?
Well, too late for that.
Is anyone in here okay?
Zip.
You're in the office, not the bathroom, Dr. Glauc.
I didn't know it was occupied. Thank you, Dorothy. That'll be all. poor thing. Was prepared to fire her today, but it'll have to wait until next week.
Still here, Dr. Glauc?
Of course you are. Of course you are. Just sharing my thoughts about a coworker of yours.
There's no other coworkers here. There's just me.
Now, that's what I mean. Thank you, Dorothy. Okay, so what seems to be the trouble? Just a filling?
My tooth hurts, doctor.
Then whatever you're doing with it, stop doing it.
I can't stop using my teeth, Dr. Glauc. It's for my very survival.
I can't convince you to go vegan, or at least try oatmeal.
I'm over here, doctor. That's the ficus plant.
Let's see. Ficus plants, they need love and care and lots of talking to them. They like the carbon dioxide, don't you know?
Forgive me for asking, doctor, but are you having difficulty with your eyesight?
I used to, but back in the day. But you know how optometrists are. They want you to change your prescription every 6 weeks or so. I just had to stop going to them. I support that kind of racket.
When did you stop seeing your eye doctor?
Years ago. Now open up. Let's see. I'm not liking at all what I'm seeing.
That's not my mouth, doctor.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Now let me use this little mirror thingy here. What's that, Mr. Kula?
Can you see my teeth with that mirror?
Of course I can. Of course I can. Let me tell you, I'm concerned. I'm thinking about what I'm seeing there.
I'm sorry, Dr. Glauc, but I don't believe you.
How dare you? Didn't you hear me tell you what our second most important policy is? Or did I tell that to another patient?
Perhaps I'll get a second opinion.
Too late. I think we'll have to pull the tooth. You know what? Let me get my pliers.
I've had just about enough of this.
Won't hurt a bit. We'll be done in a jiffy. There! Get that little sucker!
That's not my tooth!
Sorry. You think you'd want a complete physical?
I don't want a physical from you. You went to dental school.
Hey, I'm the one who paid COD for the diploma. Back in those days, you had to pay for the postage in advance. It was before you could just print things online. I've heard wonderful things about this little web of theirs they have going on out there. I hear it's pretty remarkable.
Don't make this worse for you. My bite is much worse than my bark.
I could tell. Those incisors are so big they could be outsizers.
Oh, did you eat garlic for lunch?
All you can eat breadsticks includes the garlic knots. Can you tell? I thought about brushing my teeth, and in dentistry, it's the thought that counts.
Never mind. The children of the night are calling me out of here. They're reminding me it's not too late to see my hematologist. Farewell!
Miss Gal, bill that guy for a cleaning and for a new little mirror thingy. I just can't find mine anywhere.
You put it behind your ears, Doctor.
I didn't hear that. Who's the next patient?
This is Mr. Frankenstein. He has a problem with his teeth. He says they aren't his originally.
Denture. Hey, we'll take a good look at those gums. Come on in to Last Chance Dental.
I'm David Robinson. Nutmeg Junction is not only a radio program, it can be found in a podcast format. It is available on iTunes. The website for all episodes is nutmegjunction.com. In our second station, we stop by the Toy Feezer Toy Company with a short consideration of tort law, inspired by the American Museum of Tort Law in Winsted, Connecticut. We present Toy Feezers.
Members of the board, the Toy Feezer Toy Company is in crisis.
I don't believe it.
I can't believe it.
I won't believe it. I'll believe anything you say, GT.
Oh, me too, yeah.
And then believe this, we're in crisis. They're suing the pants off of us out there, and the fault lies with somebody here at this table.
We believe it,
totally
sure.
someone.
Jansen.
Me?
Absolutely, it's Jansen.
I didn't say it was Jansen's fault. Not yet, anyway. Jansen?
Yes, GT.
Sales in the action figure division are plummeting, and we're currently being sued.
I don't understand it, GT. Asbestos Man is our most popular superhero action figure on the market.
I know, and I remember as a girl I had my very own Asbestos Man action figure. I used to try to light him on fire just like the packaging challenged all children to do.
Being flame retardant is Asbestos Man's superpower.
Exactly. And with every house we would have to move into eventually, I would say, this time, Asbestos Man, we're going to find a home where the fire department really does appreciate us.
Being a nomad was part of Asbestos Man's origin story.
Precisely. So now children aren't trying to light their Asbestos Man action figures on fire anymore. Instead, some parents...
I like how you just did air quotes when you said parents, GT.
Thank you. Some parents want to blame their children's action on us.
It's unbelievable.
Absurd.
Well,
It's a shame, GT.
what about you, Smith?
Me?
Oh, it's totally Smithy's fault.
What about brick ball? So far, no school system has adopted brick ball as a viable varsity sport. In fact, we're just being sued.
We're working on finding acceptance in the junior varsity system first. I mean, everyone I know loves brick ball. Here, Jones, catch.
Ow! My eye! My eye!
Well, that's 20 points for me.
The practical side of brick ball is the cost. Who else but the Toy Feezer Toy Company would find a new purpose for loose, jagged pieces of bricks that would just be thrown away? I mean, it's really all about recycling.
I just want to say, it's a shame Smith isn't leading the brickball division the way the Toy Feezer Toy Company needs and I dare say deserves. But to be sued for this, that's just beyond the pale. I mean, what's an eye between co-workers?
I know. I mean, did we throw the brick ball that injured some random person?
Well, Smith did just now.
It wasn't random.
Then again, what about you, Jones?
Oh, Jonesy, yeah, totally, yeah.
Our entire company's bottom line really took a hit when we came out with your baby's first sushi chef kit. For some reason, the public didn't like giving babies real knives, and we're being sued for it.
But we gave everyone a free knife sharpener and everything.
And it was not enough. Nobody liked the jingle either.
Take a chance on baby sushi.
I want to say, although we all think it's a company's going under because of litigation, it's probably Jones's fault. But even I kind of like the jingle.
I suppose we just live in a litigious world.
Frivolous lawsuits stifling the American workers.
All our factories and workers are overseas, of course, but invoking the principle of American workers still applies.
Hear, hear. Well said, Todd. I mean, we're all working, and we're Americans, aren't we?
We're all Americans in every way, but for the actual paying of taxes, GT. Remember the tax haven thing? I'll explain that outside the meeting.
Maybe we could sue them.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Sue who, Jansen?
Who are we going to sue?
What do you think?
Sue them preemptively. Request a declaratory statement saying anyone who tries to sue us has to pay us damages, whether they win or not.
Can we do that?
As long as nobody tells Ralph Nader.
No. That's too, what's the word?
Evil?
Forward thinking?
Forward thinking, exactly. I mean, it'll take months to find the right judge to enact the right sort of justice for us.
Love the air quotes, GT.
I think we should focus on the big toy item. Jones wants to talk to us about it.
Well, it's a surefire winner, GT. Baby's first mining kit.
Every kid has its own realistic pickaxe?
A real pickaxe, but baby-sized.
Of course, now we're getting somewhere.
Hello out there in television land, I'm Phil Hall. Nutmeg Junction enjoys an extraordinary ensemble cast. With over 30 actors, some of whom record their lines remotely in other states where they reside, there's always room for a large cast to perform, with every actor having their time to shine. Such is the case in our next station, where we take you to Nottingham as a familiar hooded figure purposely strolls through the woods before meeting a not-so-merry band in a story we call Robin and the Team of Occasionally Amused and Sometimes Contemplative Persons.
A hooded figure approaches in a wood, alone.
Could it be the sheriff of Nottingham in disguise?
I don't think so, John. The sheriff is a few feet taller than the person approaching. Not that I'm making any judgments about the individual's personal fortitude based on size at all.
Thank you for the distinction, Alan Adele. I think we can all agree that height is not a reflection of the importance of the person in question.
Exactly, Pinder. I think Alan's just sharing his unique individual perspective and not grafting any expectations on to anyone else.
It's certainly not my intention to profile anyone.
Oh, no, of course not. No, not at all.
The stranger approaches. Scarlet will intercede.
Halt. What is your name and what is your business in these woods?
You don't recognize me because I'm wearing a hood. Ha ha! Get it? Hood?
Right. You're wearing a hood. That's why we asked you to identify yourself.
Or you could just sign the guest book. We promise not to sell or share the list with any third parties.
My friends, the hood is a clue to my identity. Can't you guess who I am?
Little Red Riding Hood. I knew it.
Little Red Riding Hood? Really? That's a bit much.
Wait, how'd you know my name was Much? I'm Much, the miller's son.
So why do we have to do the work to guess your name for you? That's a bit presumptuous.
We're not asking you to guess our names, even if you happen to have guessed Much's name correctly.
But I do know all your names. You're Alan Adele. Ha ha!
I think you have a stalker, Alan. That can happen with musicians, so beware.
Come on, guys. It's me. Do I really have to take off the hood? No one's going to guess? Oh, all right. Ha ha! It is I, Robin of Locksley. But you all know me as Robin Hood. I have returned. It's so great to be back with my merry men. What's wrong, merry men?
Should I tell him? Is it up to me to tell him?
We voted on it. Pinder, you tell him.
Okay, the whole merry men thing. We need to give that a rest.
But why, my friends? I thought you liked the name.
We're not here for your amusement, you know.
You can't tell us what to do all the time.
I know. He's always saying, Friar Tuck, if you aren't wearing the robe, underpants are not optional. I mean, come on, am I right?
Well, no.
Actually, we all kind of agree with Robin on that one.
Robin, we have women and men in our band, so just calling us merry men ignores half the population, and it's rather rude.
Oh, I see. Well, I was kind of using men in the general sense. Like when I say, hey guys, it's not literally meaning everyone is a guy.
Yes, but what you don't consider is calling the group merry women, do you? Do you see the hypocrisy?
I hadn't thought of that.
How about something non-gender specific? We could call ourselves the Justice Association or the Wonder Pack.
Is that who we are? Really? I mean, I kind of like a merry... What about a merry band? See, I don't know. We're missing the alliteration there.
That's another thing. The whole merry nonsense.
But why? For we are a merry band fighting for justice.
Sometimes we don't feel so merry all the time, and calling us merry puts a lot of pressure on us.
I thought when I'm with you, we're all a little merry.
Pleased, maybe? Mildly amused, perhaps? But merry? That's a bit of a stretch, Robin.
Sometimes we might want to be contemplative. You're putting too much weight on an emphasis on an emotion and not on our minds or our abilities as human beings.
Robin, we shouldn't be expected to be merry all the time for your amusement. You're the one putting the expectation on us.
I know. It's like he's always saying, Tuck, wash your feet before making the mashed potatoes. Jeez, I mean, come on. It's my life. I'll live it my way.
Once again, Tuck, you're not helping the argument.
But, Maid Marian, I only mean the term with great affection. Being merry makes you smile. I think you should smile more.
Let me at him.
First of all, let's put an end to this maid business. If you make a mess, clean it up yourself. I'm nobody's maid.
I didn't mean maid as in a description of employment. I was thinking maid as in maiden, virtuous, an unblemished flower of innocence.
Oh, you could just mind your own business. You don't know me.
Mind your own beeswax, pal.
I assure you, friends, I don't mean offense. Little John, I think for the most part we're on the same page on things. Help me out here.
Okay, are we gonna do this? We're doing this? You've been calling me little for years, but I'm taller than you,
Yes?
with a larger stomach than you,
True.
bigger muscles.
That, I confess, is also true.
So why exactly you're calling me little? I think you're trying to make yourself seem bigger by putting me down, and it's a little hurtful.
It's meant to be lovingly ironic.
What if we started calling you Tiny Robin? Is that lovingly ironic for you?
Hey everyone, it's Tiny Robin. Come to fight Prince John. How does that sound, Tiny Robin?
Okay, now let's not get crazy. Bland, I'm looking for some support here.
Bland may be my surname. You never call me by my first name, and now you say Bland. Makes me sound not very interesting.
Maid Robin has returned to the wood. How's that sound?
I think now you're just hurting my feelings.
Exactly, so that's how we all feel. You're the one who's been in charge of the names for all this time.
I know. It's like everywhere I go, he says, Friar Tuck, stop clipping your toenails on the dining table. Friar Tuck, the milk jug is not a spittoon. Friar Tuck, chickens won't lay scrambled eggs, even if you sit on them. And I'm like, come on!
But your name is Friar Tuck. And I stand by my other statements there. But for the rest of you, I wish to make amends. Little John, please come here. My fine fellow, a fine human being on this planet. How do you wish to be known?
Well, there is this musician I really like. I'd like to be a bit more like him. So from now on, call me Lil John.
Not Little John. You want to be called Lil John. Okay.
Yeah!
Lil John it is. Bland, what may I call you? What is your first name, by the way?
Dullard.
And you'd rather be known by Dullard than Bland?
No, you can call me Bland. But now I've had a say in the matter, so I'm satisfied.
Fair enough. And now, may I ask Marian, how shall I address you?
You may call me Your Majesty.
And what do I call you in private?
I'll tell you in private.
Yes, Your Majesty. Pinder, Scarlet, I didn't hear any complaints from you about your names.
We're good.
I'm all right.
What about you, Much?
I'll tell you, but you might say it's a bit much.
Go on.
I prefer to be called Midge.
You'd rather be called Midge. That sounds better than Much. Very well. Midget is. What of our balladeer, Elena Dale? What shall I call you?
You can call me Al.
Such a timeless reference. And Friar Tuck?
Well, I was thinking of shortening the name. You know, something in between the F in Friar and I like the sound of Tuck.
We'll workshop that idea and come up with something special just for you. I am sure it will be a term of endearment used for generations to come. And now, my merry men! I mean, now my team of occasionally amused and sometimes contemplative persons, let us go to Nottingham, teach the sheriff a thing or two, and while we're there, we may steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Or the other way around. Hi, I'm Jerry Crystal. Nutmeg Junction is recorded at WAPJ Torrington Community Radio. Like Citizens Television, community radio is non-commercial, non-profit programming that provides a voice to those ideas and content underserved by commercial outlets. Please support your local community media stations like community radio, community cable stations like Citizens TV, and other non-commercial community-centered media outlets. You receive and enjoy unique programs like Nutmeg Junction. In this station stop, Edgar Allan Poe is in a creative quandary in No Offense.
Last call, Mr. Poe. Mr. Poe, last call.
5 minutes, my good man. I think we're onto something. Go ahead, Stuart. Try reading it again.
Ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, my name is Albert.
It's genius. Pure genius. I'm talking about my words, not necessarily the delivery. One more round, Albert.
I don't know, Edgar. I think the last line may not entirely fulfill the promise that the rest of the poem provides, and I mean that with the utmost respect and with no offense intended or implied, of course.
Of course, George, of course. But I think it's genius. Don't you like it, Albert?
Huh? It's all right, I guess. I mean, I'm the barkeep, not much of a poetry person, but I can appreciate the work people put into it. So, can I close out your tab?
Never! More beverages, if you please.
Albert, after this round, please close out the tab. Edgar, I don't think your poem is ready. Not ready for my magazine, at any rate. And I don't mean to offend in any way. This is just my feelings on the subject.
How is my reading? I feel I'm trying to bring my best work, but if I'm a little distracted...
You read the words, Stuart. You read the words.
You see, my fiancée has been acting a little peculiar to me lately, and
Stuart, this is about me right now. Much as I appreciate the fact that you come here with your own needs and personal situation, so you know what? No offense is meant, surely.
Of course.
Edgar, you've named the raven after the bartender. But unless your readers happen to be at the same bar, I don't think they're going to fully understand the reference.
But I've accrued such a large debt here, George. How else can I pay him to give him the honor of a prominent place in my creative work? I can name the raven Albert.
I'd rather just get paid, if I'm being perfectly honest. Not to be rude, but I do appreciate the honor.
Supposing you didn't have the debt, and you didn't have to name the raven Albert, how would the poem sound?
In that case, Stuart, take these pages here, okay? Pick it up right there.
For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Virginia.
Isn't that your young cousin named Virginia?
My wife, yes.
Ew. I mean, the less I know about your personal life, the better, Edgar. No offense.
Of course.
It's like I was telling my intended the other day.
Stuart, no offense, but this is not about you. Now, George, the magazine needs a jolt of excitement that only a work by Poe can provide.
Graham's magazine hasn't been the same since you left. That's true.
It's Griswold's work that makes it less than suitable, George. You hired him. And no offense.
It's true. Your replacement hasn't achieved the same level of interest that your work provided. No offense to him, of course.
I wouldn't mind offense in his case. He hates me.
A lot of people hate you, Edgar. No offense, of course.
Of course, but that could just be his reflection of the uncreative garbage circle that you sit in, George. No offense.
No offense, but I do have to get up early for work. So if we're done here...
No offense, Stuart, but if you're an actor, and so getting up early for you means sometime after noon.
Hey, now.
No offense, Edgar, but I happen to resent the uncreative garbage comment. We were very good to you at the magazine. You were a fine editor, an adequate critic. Your own literary work wasn't suitable for decent readers. No offense, of course.
Of course you like Murders in the Rue Morgue well enough to publish it. At least it gave the a magazine, a little artistic flair. No offense.
Well, no offense, Edgar, but I've been very patient reading all your rewrites, and Lenore expects me to meet her for lunch.
No offense, but I've met Lenore, and giving you any time away from her is a favor. No offense.
No offense, Edgar, but my rag paid your copious bills and kept you out of debt. And now that you're out of my employ, you socialize with actors and whores, which is often the same thing. No offense to it, of course.
No offense, George, but in the future, I wouldn't want to spend 5 minutes with an ignorant editor who hires Rufus Griswold to replace me, even if I had to spend an entire evening with an insipid actor crying about his fiancée, Lenore. No offense, Stuart.
Well, I've had about enough of your stupid, whiny, derivative dribblings you call poems. Your vapid, trite, and nearly incoherent babblings are poor excuses for verses. Dickens already wrote about a talking raven, you morally, ethically, creatively, and literally bankrupt washout. I'm just sorry I ever clapped my eyes on your useless, pathetic scribble diarrhea, let alone read them aloud, fouling the air with the stench of mendacity and meaningless spittle. The tissue for the toilet holds more literary merit than the poetry of Edgar Allan Poe. And I'll never work with you again. Never more. Never more. Never more! No offense, of course.
Of course not. Yes, of course not.
So, about this tab, who's paying?
Are we going Dutch?
You invited us here.
Stuart, how would you like a poem dedicated to your lovely Lenore?
In exchange for paying the tab?
Exactly.
Only if you never call me again to perform your poems, Edgar. No offense.
Nevermore.
Nutmeg Junction is an anthology series featuring beloved characters and stories like The Grey Whisper, Space Sentries, Professor A, and many more. Our next story features a look at the world of a straight-faced duo fighting back against a world that is constantly changing before them. Please enjoy Tales of Intrigue.
Whenever our nation faces strange and unusual destabilizing elements that originate at home or from abroad, there's a thin gray line that protects our traditional understanding of the world, and I'm part of that line. My name's Rutledge, James Rutledge. And with my partner Haldeman, we face these threats head on. Some may find these stories intriguing. That's why we call our reports Tales of Intrigue. Report 1019. The Bureau got word of a subversive element in our community that was coming to a head on the last night of October. Haldeman and I were called back to the Bureau after a morning spent preparing our case. It was a challenging assignment and one that required field work to get the real story. Fortunately, the Bureau teaches us the art of infiltration, and we found foolproof disguises that were equal to the task. When Chief stepped out of his office, he voiced his outrage and confusion.
Rutledge, Haldeman, where are you? And who are these beatniks behind your desk at the Bureau?
But it is us, Chief. Sorry. We're wearing our deep cover disguises. Let me show you. I'll take off my bandana.
Oh, it is you, Rutledge. I didn't recognize you when you wore that bandana. And is that your partner?
Haldeman? Yes. Take off your bandana too, Haldeman, so the chief can see who you are.
It's me, Chief.
Haldeman, it is you. Well, straighten up your tie. You're sitting in a cubicle, not some darn commune. And what's with your chin?
Sorry, Chief. I haven't shaved since this morning.
You're beginning to look like some hippie.
That's the idea, Chief. We're going undercover into trick-or-treating ring we've been hearing about, and that element doesn't take too kindly to squares wearing gray suits and ties like we always wear. So we put bandanas around our foreheads.
But we're still wearing our suits and ties, and we had our shoes shined. We're not barbarians.
Of course, that's the least you could do. But bandanas? The very idea. Well, if it's for a case, I'll allow it temporarily. But it better work.
It'll work, Chief. It has to. Otherwise, these bandanas will have been rented for nothing.
We're returning them on Friday, sir.
Then get out of here. The sooner you're done with your case, the sooner those bandanas get returned.
Come on, Haldeman. We've got work to do. We drove a few blocks to a small community. It was quaint but not quiet. There was a flurry of activity. Citizens who have disguised their true identities and appearances from the general population were going from house to house, but for what purpose was unclear.
Look at the artificial pumpkins, Rutledge.
Candy.
Fun-sized candy, Rutledge. You know, the smaller and less fun kind.
Fun-sized. Keep an eye out. We're heading into dangerous waters, Haldeman.
I've done some rudimentary research.
I saw the stacks of encyclopedias on your desk.
It's my understanding there is a passcode to this whole enterprise.
Good God, man. And they're all involved?
All the houses with the porch lights on are. I'm going in.
I'll back you up.
Ding dong.
Yes? Oh my. You're a bit old to be doing this sort of thing, aren't you?
Trick or treat? Smell my feet? Give me something good to eat.
My. Well, do you like chocolate bars or hard candy?
She's not smelling my feet, Rutledge.
Smell the feet, ma'am. We're with the government.
I knew I should have just left a bowl out with a sign.
Trick or treat!
Here you go, kids.
Thank you!
See how easy that was?
I didn't see any exchange of currency. I'm not sure the encyclopedia prepared me for this kind of concept.
Ma'am, are you being extorted for candy in any way? Threats of toilet papering the house, perhaps?
Oh no, we just like giving out the candy. It makes the children very happy.
Happy, eh? I've heard of the concept, but I need to learn more. I'll have to check the encyclopedias.
I'm going to close the door now, but I do like your costumes. Are you the bandana twins or something?
Thank you for your assistance, but my partner and I are simply undercover. See? Let me take my bandana off.
Wait a minute, you're not young trick-or-treaters. You're government bureaucrats.
Not bureaucrats, ma'am. We're the thin gray line separating society from total anarchy.
Oh, then you do good work. You deserve some candy.
We can't accept bribes, ma'am. Rutledge, it's a trap.
Good God, man, we almost fell into it, too.
Back, foul, treasonous temptress.
Excuse me, mister. You can have some of my candy.
Young person, did you miss the part where we can't take bribes? We don't want to charge you.
She's just a kid, Rutledge. She doesn't know we're government investigators undercover.
The bandanas, darn it. I forgot about the bandanas. Here, let me take off my bandana, too. I didn't get a gasp out of you, young lady.
It's okay. I just want to share the candy. Sharing is what it's all about.
Sharing. Free of expectations. It's like taking candy from a trick-or-treater. You've given me candy, young miss, as well as food for thought.
I'm closing the door now. Get off my property.
That's what we're used to. Thank you. We're going.
The following day, the chief was in for a shock. He stormed out of his office and yelled,
Rutledge! Haldeman! Get in here!
"We're here."
What's wrong, Chief?
Why are your desk covered with cobwebs? Haven't you been working?
Those are fake cobwebs, sir. They're made out of cotton.
And these giant pumpkins with faces carved in them.
They're called jack-o'-lanterns, sir. I don't believe the name is offensive to the Irish, but we'll look into it.
It's Halloween paraphernalia. It's the day after Halloween, so we got a deal. 75% off.
But someone's littered all of these candies on my desk, and they're so tiny.
They're fun size, sir. We're sharing. Sharing the holiday spirit. It's what Halloween is all about.
That, and dressing up in costumes, seeing scary movies, bobbing for apples, and putting pumpkin spice in everything.
I'm not paying overtime for these shenanigans, Rutledge.
We're not charging, sir. We simply shared instead.
Outrageous.
It's true, Chief. Here's a costume of your very own.
Why, it's a bandana. I don't know what to say.
Just take care of it, sir. It's rented.
We have to return it before they close tonight.
But for today, I'm now no longer the chief. I'm just a dude. Just one of the guys. All thanks to you two. Thank you for letting me take this holiday with you.
You're welcome, Chief. It's our pleasure.
Okay, holiday is over. Return this bandana and get back to work. These reports ain't gonna write themselves.
We're on it.
You're welcome, Chief. It's our pleasure. I'll do the paperwork. I'll call this item trick or treason. File it under Report 1019 in our Tales of Intrigue.
One of the most endearing characters created for Nutmeg Junction is Professor A, adjunct professor to the multiverse, featuring Lana Peck as the professor and Kurt Boucher as Dr. Robert. We present this original piece, Professor A, The Time Arrow Trap.
Ouroboros! Ouroboros!
We've made it here, Professor, but there was a problem with the vortex corridor. For a moment, there seemed to be like we weren't going to make it.
Yeah, there was some interference in the tunnel, Dr. Robert, almost as if there was another vortex operating at the same time and on the same frequency that veered off at the last moment. A measurement of time so small it would be categorized in Planck time. Strange.
I heard some shouting. I couldn't make it out.
I expected some welcome. Perhaps Doctors Ilian and Thamy are preparing for their experiment.
They're investigating some sort of quantum fluctuations out here. Is it really supposed to be a pocket of time?
A rather peculiar way of expressing that, Dr. Robert, but not totally off the mark.
Perhaps they went into this room here? Don't know if we can get in there. There's a handprint security device. Beep.
ID recognized. Welcome to the science station, Dr. Robert.
But I've never been here before.
Obviously, someone thinks you have. Let's go in.
Professor, we may be in the time trap now. It must have been what you did.
That's kind of rude. We haven't been formally introduced.
What are you talking about, Robert?
We came to see your probe. When does it launch?
It launched hours ago and just impacted the quantum fluctuation. But things are not right. Not right at all.
It's as if the fluctuation became bigger the moment just before the quantum probe hit. Was it your vortex, Professor?
We're unaware of doing anything to cause any issue to you or your experiment.
Is that the fluctuation there? What am I seeing?
When the probe hit the fluctuation, the field enveloped all around us. What you're seeing is that we're in the fluctuation itself. You can try to get a better look back at the observatory if you want to. We're rather busy here.
Curious. Come along, Dr. Robert. The observatory is,
You know where it is. Down to the right. You didn't forget already, did you? I'd show you, but we have too much work to do here.
We'll find it. To the observatory, then. They're rather odd, aren't they? Acting very familiar for strangers, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. There is a due amount of stress when the results of an experiment come in, and it's not what was expected. Robert, if you would do the honors and open the door.
ID recognized. Welcome to the observation center, Dr. Robert.
Such a spacious room, and what a view from here.
The fluctuation. It's enormous. Beautiful and yet frightening at the same time.
It is remarkable. A true representation of the power before us. It doesn't seem like it's enveloped us, though.
Is it because we're in a different room with a better vantage point?
Not likely, Dr. Robert. Think it through.
This is the time pocket? I'm not sure I fully understand. What did the probe do?
It seems they meant to measure this fluctuation, but something went wrong. We don't know what it was.
Beep.
There you are. This is my favorite room.
I can see why. But weren't you too busy to come with us to the observation room?
Oh, we won't be that kind of busy until the probe hits.
You said the probe hit already. things went haywire?
No, it's going to hit. See? There it is there.
Can you enhance the view at all?
View enhanced 250%.
There it is. But do you worry at all what effect the probe is going to have on our station?
The station is protected by a quantum field, and the distance between the station and the fluctuation is substantial. We should be safe here.
But I thought it enveloped your station.
Of course not. The size of the fluctuation shouldn't allow for that. Why would you think that?
You're receiving a message from Dr. Ilian.
Dr. Themi, can you come here to the laboratory? The probe is about to hit.
On my way.
I expected something extraordinary by coming to a science station to find out about this fluctuation, but something unusual is going on here, Professor. Are the people in charge here somewhat scatterbrained?
Not at all. They are highly accomplished and brave science explorers. They were handpicked for this assignment.
Let's go get some answers.
I've got my reader. I'm all set.
Dr. Ilian, I thought you were in the laboratory.
Oh, I won't have to be there until just before the probe hits.
So the probe definitely hasn't hit.
You were just in the observatory. I assume you saw that for yourself.
Dr. Themi got your message and will meet you there.
Message? What are you blithering on about, Robert? Really?
Dr. Ilian, can you tell me about your theories about this quantum fluctuation?
It's rather exciting. You see, people consider time as a constant concept. And by constant, we really mean flowing in one direction. Think of it as an arrow. It flows in one direction.
So there's no time travel then?
Not to the past, no. It's not like the science fiction movies. Time travels only, of course, if you will, when we move forward. So imagine a planet comparatively near to a black hole, but not yet affected by it, and consider a spaceship sent to explore the black hole and gets close to it as it can to the event horizon, which, as we know, you wouldn't be able to escape with a gravitational pull. But regardless, in this theoretical exercise, time will be perceived differently by someone on the planet than someone on the ship near the event horizon.
The perception and the measurement may seem different, but in all cases, it's still moving in the direction of the arrow, moving forward.
But what if I told you this quantum fluctuation giving off inverse readings of a quasi-event horizon, it appears to hold a pocket of time? It's extraordinary. We're sending a probe in to see if we can make any sort of measurements and understand the nature of time itself. I should get to the lab now. See you there.
So what is an inverse reading of a quasi-event horizon?
We use terms to try to understand our world, but sometimes the worlds fail to adequately describe the quantum fluctuation.
Should we meet them back at the lab?
What choice do we have?
Welcome to the laboratory, Dr. Robert.
They're not here. Where are they?
Surely they have readings they must go over from the probe?
If I'm looking at this correctly, the probe hasn't hit it yet.
Yet?
In fact, it seems further away from the fluctuation than it was when we saw it from the observatory.
I'm beginning to see there's more at work here than meets the eye, or at least what we can perceive.
Welcome, Dr. Ilian.
Oh, there you are, Professor Robert. It must have worked.
What worked?
Sending up the probe, of course. There was no trap after all.
Trap? I don't follow you, Ilian.
After we sent the probe. We just did it. You were there. I'm looking forward to the results.
I regret to inform you, we've been here.
You're an odd one, aren't you? Oh, I forgot the handheld reader. It helps me view the data more easily than the large screen.
Shh. You're the odd one.
I fear there may be an explanation to this mystery, Robert. We should find the answers in the control center. That's where they launched the probe. If my expectations are correct, we will find the solution there.
Here's the control center.
The ID is not recognized.
My handprint isn't working. It's been working the entire time.
Come in. Dr. Themi, can you get the door?
Let's get you squared away, Robert. There, you're now input into the system.
Now I'm allowed to use the system. Open any doors I want.
Robert, the answer has been in front of us all along. It appears that we have been experiencing events in reverse time.
Reverse time?
You'll explain to us that linear time is an arrow that flows in one direction, forward, But when you launched your quantum probe into the fluctuation, the force sent time to flow backwards. We are somewhat protected in the quantum ship, but not immune entirely.
The fluctuation is not sufficient enough power to create that effect.
The quantum probe didn't create the change in power.
That means something we are going to do reverse the direction of time's arrow.
When Robert and I arrived, we arrived at the moment the probe impacted the anomaly, and time has gone backwards since. I regret to tell you, Dr. Ilian, Dr. Themi, but you are trapped in the station as events in time occur in reverse order.
Time's arrow is now facing the opposite way.
If what you say is correct, Professor, the primary duty is to reverse the problem to allow the time to flow forward. There is no greater duty than that. Time must be allowed to flow forward. If we miss the window, it will be too late.
Now, a natural process only flows in one direction. How do we change the direction of time?
In a closed system, entropy cannot decrease over time, so we must open Pandora's box and insert a new variable into the equation with more power than the time probe itself.
Professor, could we use the power of the vortex?
Yes! The quantum field of the vortex could capture the fluctuation in one place and close a loop around it. We would send the vortex into the fluctuation and back again, changing, of course, only in the last moment.
A moment measured by Planck time.
Exactly. Our path creates a shape through time, not unlike a figure eight.
Ouroboros, the serpent is eating its own tail.
A closed loop. This will mean for all time there will be a pocket of time here, and that's the fluctuation.
We are creating the very pocket in time we were investigating.
Professor, the disturbance we felt in the vortex just before we arrived, was that ourselves leaving as we're about to do?
But there's a catch.
I'm afraid so.
Someone has to be here to launch the probe, otherwise there's a paradox.
If there is some sort of trap, then the amount of energy we need has to remain constant. The professor and the doctor were not fully on the station at the time the loop was created, so they are now able to not fully be on the station when the loop hits, but will have to stay.
I'm sorry, Dr. Themi, but this is not the adventure I'd promised you.
We always wanted to study time, Dr. Ilian. Now we will study time forever in the loop.
We may find yet better solution.
I don't wish to sound corny, but we've run out of time.
Robert, start the vortex corridor. Dr. Ilian, Dr. Themi, we will work to find a way to pull you out of the loop. One day, we will find that solution.
We may yet figure out a solution on our own. Professor, after all, we have all the time in the world.
Farewell.
They're arriving and departing at the same time.
If we call out to them as a warning, could they hear us? Could we alter these events?
Well, we could yell.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros! Ouroboros!
Can we get Joe out here? J. Timothy Quirk is the creator and main writer. He wrote all these scripts tonight of Nutmeg Junction. Joe, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here on Nerd Talk. Thank you for allowing us to be here on Citizens Television. We're really excited to be here, grateful for the opportunity to share our work. You guys did an amazing job, and it was just a thrill for me to watch you bring everything to life. So if you could come on in, everyone, this is fantastic. It's an enormous opportunity to be here on Nerd Talk. So Kurt, Lana, Rich, Kat, Michael, thank you so much for having us. I hope people enjoy Nutmeg Junction. Nutmeg Junction can be found on nutmegjunction.com.
Oh, great. Oh, we still have a couple more minutes.
We have a couple minutes.
Yeah. So what really inspired you to start the show?
I've always loved old-time radio, and I wanted to find a unique way of telling stories. And so this is what we do. We do it together as a team. There's over 30 actors who are part of Nutmeg Junction. There are people who assist in the writing stage and assist in the acting stage. There are people who act in other states, which is an amazing thing. The reason why we wanted to do this is to create new and challenging and exciting and fun stories. And we hope we achieve that.
No, well,
we did.
yeah, these scripts were great. I'm really glad I finally got a chance to work with you guys.
Absolutely, Michael. I was hoping that we could do that, and I specifically wrote this Professor A story for you and Kat to be a part of the experience. The Professor A character is kind of our Doctor Who. Helmed by Lana and Kurt Boucher, and of course Tiffy McKay, who couldn't be here, but she plays Miss Gentry.
I want to say what impresses me the most is how quickly you can come up with 3 or 4 scripts in a matter of hours. What's your secret?
Oh, there's nothing that informs the creative process more than a deadline. Speaking of deadline, I know that we only have a minute left.
So let's introduce everyone just one last time, and then we'll say goodnight.
Real quick.
Yes, please.
Hi there, I'm Hi there, I'm Phil Hall.
I'm Jerry Crystal.
I'm David Robinson.
Rich Sayre.
Mike Ilian.
Lana Peck.
Jason Koulis.
Katarina.
Kurt.
Let's dance.
Thank you, crew. Thank you.
Thank you, crew.